Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Do you out there, you listeners, do you ever feel like you're not being listened to? Do you ever feel like you would like to invite someone to church and you just can't get them to go? Just feel like your words are just falling on deaf ears out there? Well, I feel like my words are falling on deaf ears when I speak to America. But nevertheless, I'm going to continue to talk, and who knows, at some time God is going to make it possible for us to speak to lots of people to be able to give His warning. Now, I'm going to bring up actually these are only newspaper headlines. Newspaper headlines that actually prove what Dimitri was told is from God, is all accurate, and unfortunately it is all in the very late stages of coming to pass. Now, first of all, let me give you the phrase, okay? And then we're going to go through step by step by step. I'm going to give you newspaper headlines. These are just the headlines, with the one exception, to prove that what Dimitri is told is now in the process of coming to pass. Again, Dimitri was told the fall of America would start with an internal revolution. I've got 3 headlines to back that up. Started by the communists. I've got about 6 headlines on that one. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. Got 7 headlines on that one. The government will be busy with internal problems. Got 6 headlines on that one. Then Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, Mexico, and 2 other countries will attack America. Got 5 headlines on that. And America will fall in one day, in 1 hour. So let's dig into it. All right, let's start with the first part. Internal revolution. Fall of America will start with an internal revolution. Limbaugh, scary proof, U.S. facing major divide it can't escape. And as you can imagine, the article goes on to give Rush Limbaugh's opinion on what he thinks is causing a major divide in America that we're not going to get away from. Well, Rush, in this case, unfortunately, I have to agree with you, and the prophets have to agree with you, and even more, unfortunately, the will of God has to agree with you. You see, until America realizes it was not America that raised this nation up, it was not the Constitution that made this nation great, nor was it politics, nor was it the Republicans or the Democrats or our resources. It was one God Almighty and His Son, Yeshua Jesus. And until we realize we didn't raise ourselves up, we can't fix ourselves. Because I believe the only way for America to turn around is if we see a wholesale, massive, nationwide repentance and turn to Jesus, cry out to Jesus, and He will fix it. We can't fix it. Next headline. Again, this is for internal revolution. Headline, Matt Drudge burns GOP for disloyalty to Trump. Jesus said a kingdom divided cannot stand. Right now, we are a kingdom divided. Next headline. Ken Starr says questioning of Jeff Sessions designed to embarrass him. So we have one American leader trying to embarrass another American leader. Now let's go to the next part. Started by the communists. Now I'm going to give you several headlines here that confirm that communists are here in America. They are working overtime to destroy this nation as quickly as possible. Headline, boom, protesters interrupt Trump assassination play. Rush stage screaming, quote, Goebbels would be proud. Goebbels would be proud. Now, of course, the assassination play that this Republican interrupted was the one that portrays the killing of Caesar. Well, not dressed like Caesar. He's dressed like Donald Trump, President of the United States. In other words, they are actually portraying the murder of our president. Well, if you kill the president, are you trying to kill the nation? Are those communists? Well, I'm going to say yes, they are. Headline, Kim Jong-un nervous about assassination. No, this is not talking about the kid that they recently sent home, and we're going to talk about that in a second. This is talking about Kim Jong-un says he is nervous about being assassinated, and obviously he's probably thinking it would be the U.S. doing it, as I have actually heard some commentators on Fox News hint very subtly that maybe that's an option on the table. Headline, U.S. student, former North Korea captive, dies. Now, as you recall, this is the guy that was caught. Some people just say he was just touching at other people, saying he stole a little political poster from the hotel room in North Korea, and then he was held captive for 17 months, and he was sent home basically in a coma and died as of what I guess they announced it yesterday. So, isn't that really getting really close to an active war? I don't think it is an active war, but it is sort of, I mean, that's a really big slap in our face when they are killing our people. Now, okay, maybe he was guilty, maybe he wasn't. But I mean, since when is stealing a poster a reason to get killed? Headline, fake news. CNN busted, parenthesis, again, for bogus reporting. And I heard on one, I think it's Fox News, by the way, I cannot listen to CNN. I just can't. I honestly, from time to time, will flip over there when Fox News pretty much has nothing to say or I've heard it all. I just can't listen to CNN. I really believe it's the Communist News Network. I really think that's about accurate. But bogus reporting, some 87% of what CNN says is against Trump. Now, Trump is not Jesus. Trump is not perfect. But I do think that Trump is our last chance to possibly come close to healing this nation. We won't get healed. Jeremiah 51 verse 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she would not be healed. Headline, Trump assassination jokes put America on the brink. Yeah. Okay. I mean, there are so many people that are openly attacking our president. If this was done to Obama, why the Democrats would be screaming bloody murder. Breitbart lists 15 examples of celebrity calls for violence against Trump and or the White House and or the Republicans. Now, I'm only going to give you the 11th that was listed in this particular article. Kathy Griffin beheads Trump in graphic photo. Can you imagine? I mean, Kathy Griffin should be in jail right now. Look, if I were to do that, or if you were to take and draw something of, say, Nancy Pelosi or this guy Chuck Schumer, a head as it been cut off, well, you'd have been in jail as soon as you showed that. But again, it seems like the Republicans are just standing by, letting their toes get stomped on, and they just aren't standing up and fighting. Madonna, you recall what she said, quote, I've thought a lot about blowing up the White House, unquote. If you'd have said that, or if I'd have said that on the radio, I'd have had people from the alphabet agencies knocking on my door with handcuffs in their hand. And that's what should have happened. Number 3, Snoop Dogg, quote, shoots, unquote, Trump in the head in a music video. Isn't that a threat against the president? Shouldn't these guys be arrested? Okay, next one. Robert De Niro, quote, I'd like to punch him in the face, unquote. You believe that? These are the communists that are stirring up trouble. This is the start of the internal revolution. Next one, number 5, Josh Whedon, spelling last name W-H-E-D-O-N, quote, I want a rhino to F blank 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 Paul Ryan to death, unquote. Can you believe these kind of hate, anger? This is not just I hate you. This is I want to kill you. Number 6, Shakespeare in the Park stabs Trump to death in the performance of, quote, Julius Caesar. I think that ought to be characterized as a death threat. And that whole Shakespeare in the Park ought to be shut down, and whoever's behind that ought to be answering for themselves in jail. Point number 10. Rapper YG threatens Trump with, quote, F blank 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 Donald Trump song. I heard started by the communists in February of 1988. Since then, Since meeting Dimitri, spending time with Michael Boldea, I've done my best to try to tell people. Well, it's no longer coming. I can remember the time when I thought, oh man, how's there ever going to be an internal revolution in America? We're so kind and so peace-loving and so gentle. There'll never be an internal revolution. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Point number 11. Marilyn Manson kills, quote, Trump, quote, in music video. So here we have open examples of communists stirring up trouble, and the final example is Mueller investigating Trump for possible obstruction of justice, says the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Now let's go to the next point. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. Let me back up to the beginning. The fall of America would start with an internal revolution that had 3 bullet points. Started by the communists, that had about 7 headlines. And now we're looking at some of the people will start fighting against the government. Again, these are just newspaper headlines. Texas judge pushes U.S. toward sanctuary nation, warns scholar. There's so many feelings on the edge all over America. So many people are so ready to be offended. And it is no longer just I'm upset. It's now we're breaking windows. But now, with the events at the Republican baseball practice, now bullets have begun to fly. We can now say that some of the people have started fighting against the government. Let me say it again. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. When this guy, Hutchinson, or I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to give you his name here. Probably should have prepared for that. But when he fired at congressmen, at Republicans, he even asked if this was the Republicans. That is the fulfillment. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. It's the start. Unfortunately, it's not the end. Headline: Proof positive of Trump derangement syndrome. We'll be right back after this message. The Extreme Summer Blowout is now in effect. You can get 50 DVDs for $250. That's $5 each. 25 for $160, that's $6.40 each. 15 for $120, that's $8 each. 10 for $100, obviously $10 each. 6 for $70, 4 for $50, and 2 for $30. You can go to prophecyclub.com. There's a list of all the DVDs there, or you can call us and ask for the summer catalog, or download the catalog at prophecyclub.com. Flip through it, then decide which DVDs you want. That's 785-266-1112, and it expires soon. Call 785-266-1112 today. Some restrictions apply. Brian Melvin did an excellent job making this DVD called Hell in a Box and From Hell to Heaven. Excellent talk. I've heard about 30 some odd talks of people that have passed on, some to heaven, some to hell. This is one of the best ones. This held my attention all the way through. Now look, just as archaeology can be really powerful to win people to Christ, and you need that. You need this DVD in your hands to show people this will convince people. I'm saying this will convince the skeptic to get saved very powerfully. You want this DVD and this book, Hell in a Box and Hell to Heaven, and the book, A Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion. DVD gift of 30, book gift of 20, both for a gift of 45, prophecyclub.com or 785-266-1112. The Hell gift offer. Keep them out of it with the Hell gift offer. prophecyclub.com, 785-266-1112. And now, back to the program. Unfortunately, it's not the end. Headline: Proof positive of Trump derangement syndrome. And of course, we know that the left was not expecting Trump to win. Their polls, I think they were doctored, all had them believing that Hillary the Billary was going to be the wonderful victor. And when they were upset, it shocked them out of their mind. Thus, Trump derangement syndrome. They're angry, and they're doing everything they can to upset Trump and thus the nation. They don't mind taking down the nation. Again, many of their goals. It's just that the devil's full of their heart. Or maybe I should say their heart is full of the devil. Headline: Terminate the Republican Party. Unquote. Followers celebrate Scalise's shooting. according to the Washington Times. Terminate the Republican Party? I mean, they're suggesting that you go out and shoot congressmen. Headline, remorseless leftists celebrate mass shooting. So now we're celebrating the leaders of our nation that we elect. We're shooting at them. We're trying to kill them. Headline, the left refuses to tone down their inflammatory language, and as a result, we now have war in the streets. I didn't say that. That's a headline, a newspaper headline. The left refuses to tone down their inflammatory language. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. There it is. As a result, we now have war in the streets. I didn't say that. So now I have, here's another one. Headline, GOP ball practice shooting, more anti-Republican violence. So that's 2, 4, 6 headlines that I can say that some of the people start fighting against the government. That's accurate. I mean, at this point, nobody can say Dimitri was wrong. I don't think anybody was saying it anyway, but I mean, it's here now for sure. Okay, then the next part is the government will be busy with internal problems. Headline, special prosecutor to meet Senate committee leaders. As you know, they've got a special prosecutor trying to take down our government, specifically the White House and Trump. That's what they're trying to do. Headline, Earth in danger. NASA reports comet swarm, Earth crossing asteroids. You see, if you go back into the Old Testament, as Israel began to sin and fall away from God, the earth began to vomit her out with all kinds of different attacks and plagues and war. In other words, it's like everything around sin is revolting against it, because everything in God's creation is marching toward love and kindness and taking care of one another. Here's another example. Again, the headline here is, the government will be busy with internal problems. Headline, Yellowstone supervolcano hit by a swarm of more than 230 earthquakes in 1 week. See, not only is the world heading toward a comet problem, but it's saying that America is heading toward a super volcano problem, and this is not the first time we've reported on both of those. Headline, grocery stocks tank as Amazon effect strikes fear in investors. And of course, as you know, Amazon has recently, in the process, or maybe it has actually gone through now, about to purchase Whole Foods. And that is, well, as a result, there's about the top 6 food grocers in America, their stock has fallen through the floor because they're afraid that here's my analysis on this. I think that they are getting ready to go to a world financial system, and that the best way to control people is by controlling their food. Next is controlling their water. Next is controlling their electricity. There's ways of controlling people. So if we control their food, we control them. So this is probably a giant step in that direction. Headline, Democrats, Trump, and Scalise. The left worries as rhetoric has gone too far. You think so? I mean, when we have a guy going out and shooting at senators, that's some of the people fighting against the government. Headline, source, 4 killed, including gunmen, in shooting at San Francisco UPS facility. By the way, all of these headlines are in the last 30 days. Okay, next area. Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, and Mexico would attack. Headline, armed Russian jet comes within 5 feet of U.S. recon jet. That's happened in the last 24 hours. Yes, I know you've heard similar things, but this is a new one. There's been many of these. Headline, tensions rise in Syria as Russia and Iran send U.S. warnings. As you know, Russia has now said if America flies any of its planes west of the Euphrates, it may shoot them down. Headline, Russia to treat U.S. jets in Syria as targets. Well, there it is. After America guns down first regime warplane. As you recall the story, Syria had a warplane that was attacking some people that America supports, so America blew the airplane out of the sky. Well, it made Russia upset. So, God is putting his hand on the neck of our nation because of our sin, because we've turned away from Jesus, and he is forcing our nose into trouble. He is forcing the internal revolution. He's forcing the Russians to get angry and to raise up their military so that one day, in his good timing, he will bring this nation down. Headline: Pentagon: U.S. shoots down Syrian aircraft for the first time. Well, there's another headline confirming what we've already been talking about. Headline: Iranian official plots attack on U.S. aircraft carrier. And, of course, I don't have to tell you that Iran has been a problem. So now we have a problem with Syria. We have a problem with Russia. We have a problem with North Korea and Iran. I mean, we have a lot of enemies out there. The Bible says that when you are a righteous nation, God will give you peace with your enemies. So as America sees these enemies being raised up, that's another confirmation that we are in serious, serious trouble. The final headline: Babylon is fallen. Now, in Revelation 18, where it says Babylon is fallen, has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird, it's talking about the filth, the sin in our nation. Headline: Supreme Court Justice Ginsburg favors decriminalizing pedophilia and child sex trafficking. I can't imagine that there's too many more things that anger the Lord more than offending a child. Matthew 18:5 says, And whosoever shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. But whosoever shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. As I look down, I see I have about another 5 minutes to go in this program, so let me give you a couple of tips that I have learned from memorizing the book of Revelation. First, and I'm going to put all of this into the DVD, Revelations on Revelation, but I just want to give you a couple of things right now. So my first question is God right or left-handed? You got to make a decision. Is God right or left-handed? I'm talking about which hand does he prefer? And I'll read these verses. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, meaning he's right-handed. And he laid his right hand upon me, meaning right-handed. And I saw the right hand of him that sat on the throne, a book written, right-handed. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat on the throne. Now, why is it that the devil wants to put a mark in your right hand? Answer is because that's the hand that says God, because God is right-handed. That's why he wants to put his mark, name, and number in your right hand. Next question. Is the Antichrist also called the beast, or is the beast some other entity that belongs in the last days and is not the Antichrist? Or are they one and the same? Answer is they're one and the same. Revelation 16:13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. These 3, the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, are the major players on the devil's side in the last days. And you did not see anything mentioned there about Antichrist because the beast is the Antichrist. What are the 4 parts to worshiping the Antichrist, or the beast? The answer is image, mark, name, number. That's actually 4 things. Listen. And Revelation 15:2, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten victory over the beast, that's 1, over his image, that's 2, over his mark, that's 3, and over the number of his name, that's 4. There's 4 entities associated with the mark of the beast. It's not just a mark. Here's the ways you can lose your salvation. If you take the mark of the beast, if you bend the knee to worship his image, if you worship the beast directly, or if you accept the number of his name. So in that it says number of his name, his number is his name, and his name is a number. And I believe it's the swirl, or if you put the 666 one right after another on top of each other, and I've talked about that in some of my DVDs, I believe that's what it's going to look like. In other words, if you make a swirl about 3 times over and turn it backwards where it looks like actually a swirl, it's really 666, I believe that is a high probability to be what the mark of the beast is going to look like. Now, next question. Where does Satan live? And I'm talking about when he's on earth, and of course, one of these days he's going to be cast down, but where does the Bible, specifically Revelation, say that is the home of the Satan? Well, in Revelation 1, verse 11, he says, I'm Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. What thou seest, write in a book and send unto the 7 churches which are in Asia. Here it is, lists 7 churches. Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamos, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. All 7 of those churches were located in what is today Western Turkey. So if you go to that area, where is that? That's today a Muslim area. And then if you jump to Revelation 2, verse 13, it says, I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. And thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days where Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. So in Revelation 2:13, it tells us that Pergamos, and this is the church it's talking to, Pergamos, which is one of the 7 cities located in what is today Western Turkey, is where Satan's seat is, where Satan dwells. So Satan's seat is in Pergamos, or Western Turkey, and that is in the area that qualifies to fit all of the biblical requirements to be the geographical location that the Antichrist comes from. Yes, I know that there's a very good possibility of Iraq and Syria, but according to what Revelation says, his seat and where he dwells is in Pergamos, or Western Turkey. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your gifts of support. God bless. Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. Lindsey Williams has just come out with his newest DVD titled How Trump Changed Elite Plans. How Trump changed elite plans, and he did. Topics: be prepared to view the most shocking DVD I've ever made. Nothing like this has happened in 6,000 years. Something catastrophic is beginning to develop. It will change your life forever and the life of your children and grandchildren. This is the most important information I've ever given about the future. Call How Trump Changed Elite Plans at prophecyclub.com. Available for shipping now. The Extreme Summer Blowout is now in effect. You can get 50 DVDs for $250. That's $5 each. 25 for $160. That's $6.40 each. 15 for $120. That's $8 each. 10 for $100. Obviously $10 each. 6 for $70. 4 for $50, and 2 for $30. You can go to prophecyclub.com. There's a list of all the DVDs there, or you can call us and ask for the summer catalog, or download the catalog at prophecyclub.com. Flip through it, then decide which DVDs you want. That's 785-266-1112, and it expires soon. Call 785-266-1112 today. Some restrictions apply. The number one killer in most emergency events, surprisingly, is drinking contaminated water. Being able to scoop water out of the puddle and filter it may save your life. I drink all of my water filtered through a Crown Berkey. Now, it's a gravity filter filtering down to virus levels. Contaminated water in the top gives you drinking water out the bottom. It's what the missionaries use. There are 7 Berkey options from 1 to 8 filters. Order them at prophecyclub.com. Be sure and order 2 to 4 extra black filters as backup. That's prophecyclub.com or 785-266-1112. Berkey Water Filters.